Hello to all painting enthusiasts on the YouTube channel, the educational platform Artefacto. As you know, leading artists share their lessons for free. My name is Stephie Clark, and today I want to invite you to immerse yourself in the process of drawing flowers. We will learn how to put a gentle background in and then how to paint picturesque hollyhock on top. So stay tuned until the end and don't forget to leave your impressions in the comments. So I will start popping in a little bit of light in my background, very lightly, layer, layer, layer. And then I will mix it with a couple of mid-tones. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of a mid-tone, gently moving that across the paper. This is where, if you have a very light touch, you will not get too much pigment on your paper. I'm just going to up that, put a little bit of that light in there. So I've got, so you won't fill your tooth of your paper up. So lightly adding. So what I've done is use a little bit of the blue, a little bit of light blue, and I'm coming down into my mid-tones, and then with my darker, I'm going to show where my light is sitting with my darker tones over here, my darker values, I suppose. So what I do is just put a little bit of pigment in there. Lovely, lovely. And then gently, I'm going to start in a circular motion, pushing this pigment into the paper. And what this does is set I'm just going to add a little bit of reflected light, maybe a little bit lighter down over here. What do you think? Just a little bit light. It's not my lightest light, but it's a little bit of light. And that shows where the story of the light is going to hit. In my background, this helps me. It really cements where my lights are going to sit. So this helps me all the way through my whole painting. I'm just going to pop this in and just gently move it around. Now, on pastel mat, you will find a lot of people get a little bit frustrated with pastel mat from time to time because they can't move the lines. See here, over this side here. They can't move those lines. What that is telling you, and if you're reading your paper, what that's telling you is I'd like a little bit more pigment, and then I can push that in. But if you layer slowly and gently, you will not overfill your tooth, okay? So gentle. And while I'm painting, I'm just going to tell you where my inspiration for, I'm just going to pop a couple of little darker values in there. So that's a nice little darker value. So my inspiration for my backgrounds has come from my love of Renoir. Renoir has a gentle, very soft, gentle, the best way I can describe it is that his backgrounds to me look romantic. So I guess that's what I was trying to, when I knew what I wanted my art to look like, that's what I was trying to replicate. And by doing this circular motion, just gently pushing, and I'm pushing all my strokes out of focus. So I'm making sure, we're almost done, and I'm just making sure that I have my light addressed. I want that lovely light happening. I'm just thinking I want a little bit more light over there. So not too light, just a little bit of light. And see how that's just nicely pushing back, and we've got not too much pigment, just a nice layer of pigment in there. But we've covered our paper, or the bit of paper we're going to use. I've covered that all up. I'm going to really pump up that little darker value. And there is our background. You can see how nicely that's, but the secret to the backgrounds is layering lightly, watching where your light is coming through,
Let me tell you some great news that we have for you now together with Artefacto School. My new online floral pastel course is available for you right now, and it will be a great chance for you to learn how to portray flowers with pastels and connect them to a harmonious background. It will suit artists of any level of pastel painting skills. And what else is waiting for you in this course? You'll learn how to make radiant flowers and create saturated shades, what to leave out in a composition, and the suggested information instead of painting everything, to use your professional techniques. Make effective marks and confident strokes, and to train you to make a variety of strokes to see how to simplify your subject and composition. As a result, you will create a series of pastel flowers with me, 4 pastel paintings that we will complete in 10 lessons. Click in the link description to know all the details. See you at the course.
And there's a little bit of a hard line there. I want you to take note of that, because if I just gently put a little bit more pastel over that, you'll see that that just disappears and blends in. And I have a lovely, really, really nice set background to pop our flowers on top of. And there's no, I find by pushing this into all those little the hooks that are in the paper, I find by doing that, I'm just going to pop my light just through there a little bit more. And I find that the background doesn't move at all when I start popping my midground in. So everybody painting along, I hope. Yep. So there's a nice range of values from, if this one is white, then I say from 1 to 9 is a nice value chart. So my darkest dark is probably only going to be sitting, I'm going to say, or maybe that dark, what do you think? I reckon around in here, maybe a 7. So we've kind of gone from a 2 to a 7. So what I'm going to show you is going ahead and just putting in a little bit of midground. So starting darker than I think I need, I'm just going to put in a bit of a stem. So my light side, I know, is coming down the top. So my darker side is going to be on the left, okay? And so when I'm creating anything, when I said to you that we need to change our value to create volume, this is what I'm talking about. I want you to put in a couple of areas of dark and then kiss that with a little bit of a mid-tone. So let me pop these up for you so you can see. I've used a lovely dark green. My dark green is Sennelier 179. That is my favorite dark green. So a dark, a mid, and then a light. And I'm going to show you how we create the light sitting on the stem, okay? So I reckon maybe dark, mid, light. So across here, my stem sits behind all this business here. So quickly just going to create some volume and create a little bit of a, this is my midground, okay? So on the top, we're going to just put a couple of little dark buds. Not too much detail. We don't want too much detail. All we want is the dark and then the mid, and we're going to create form by changing our value, okay? But we're showing the viewer that the light is sitting over on this right side, sort of coming down from the top. So I'm just going to find a nice little light to pop over the top there. So what we've done is use the dark, a mid, and a light. I've just changed that light. I like the warmer light. I feel like the warmer light seems to portray the light a little better. So gently just pop that over there, and we've created, zooming in on this little bit here, you can see that we've created those lost and found edges. There's not too much detail. It's just sort of pushed in behind. And I'm just going to do another little one here to show the light there. And this is the beauty of pastel. You can layer and layer your lights over darks and your darks over light. Okay, so there's our lost and found kind of background. Alrighty, they're our edges. They're something that we're just sort of in the background, and it's given me a structure to then now come along and put a really nice little flower on. So that's our background, okay, our midground, sorry. But not too much detail. So just with 3 values, you don't need too many more than 3 values. Then I'm going to start with the same idea, the same process. I'm going to paint from the back to the front when I do my subject. So with my flower, what I'm going to do is just do maybe just I might even do a midground flower. So just a suggestion of a flower sitting up the back. And I'm just going to put this one here, and then we'll pop that one in front. Okay, so start darker than you think you need. And at this point, all we're doing is suggesting that there's a little hollyhock up the back. Now I'm using a dark, which is my deep, deep purple. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of, so I know what the middle of this looks like. So, and I'm painting the back petal, alrighty. So then a mid, sort of a mid pink, I think. Remembering that our light is coming on this straight down here. And then I'm going to come in with a lovely light pink. What do you think? Like nice in here. And I'm just going to show the viewer the edge of my little flower there, just popping that in, and see how we can, without touching, you will have noticed that there's no touching with my finger. I'm not rubbing, I'm not blending. Any blending that happens with my pastel. So that's my dark. And then sometimes there's even 2 mids, because if I really want to go wow with that light, I can go up to a higher value. But what I'm going to show you is the middle of my, you can just see the middle of the little hollyhock there. Again, just these 3 values, dark, and then a bit of a mid, just to sort of mention there's something hanging out there. We're creating depth. That is the most important thing. Just creating that depth, and then we're going to go up to a little bit lighter. So my value up here, just kind of out of focus, we're creating that depth, and then I'm going to show you just how to come along. So there are our 3 little, I'm going to go up a little higher with my light, and I'm going to pop the edge of that light on, just on the edge of that. There we go. Just on the edge, creating depth, just dragging that in and blending that light. See where the light's just hitting that, and round we go, and we are creating depth by using our value range. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how by painting from the back. This is the back petal, then we've painted the middle. Now we're going to come along and we're going to put the front of that little flower on. So just a mid-tone, our lovely light mid-tone, pulling that back over here. There we go, pulling that down. And I've now enclosed that, but I have created a lovely depth. Now where that light hits, I think I could even go up a little bit higher with my value. I think I'm going to bring in just a kiss of light over this side here, and just on that edge, just maneuver that down and around, and we are going to show where the light hits. I'm going to go right up with my light. There we are. Now, because I've gone right up to here, that's then given me license to almost pull. Okay, a little bit of light just there, And if you do need to blend, and sometimes we do need to blend, just grab another pastel. The luminosity of the pastel is maintained if we don't touch it with our fingers in our midground and our foreground as it comes towards us, yeah? So I'm just going to add another pink. I just want a little bit more of that bright, vivid kind of pink just coming out of here. What do you guys think? Oh, it's a bit of a hard pastel, this one. So I'm just going to push a little bit of that pink just to give her a little bit of vibrancy. Now, with the value, you can see that because I've come in and around with that lovely light, look at that, I'm going to just kiss this with a little bit of a light, give her a little bit of light where that light's hitting that side there. But what that has allowed me now to do is with my green, I'm assessing my values all the way through, and that's showing me that I can then move up into a much lighter green, that almost vibrant green, and show where my light's going to sit. And we can just do those little highlights on the buds. So there's our midground, another flower, yeah. So we'll just come in, and now I'm going to put my foreground. I'm going to show you a lot of detail with this, our beautiful flower. They're kind of overlapping a little bit here. So I'm going to pop my deep, deep dark, my gorgeous deep dark, and I'm slowly going to work out. So we're going to pretty much put this one here in. What do you think? I reckon that looks all right. And then we are going to gently bring out, oh, maybe a red. What do you? I reckon a bit of red. I think I'd like a vibrant, almost, you just really want to invite the viewer, almost like a bee, invite them straight into the middle of the flower. And it doesn't matter if we're going to kind of overlap this a little bit. This is our midground, so we want that out of focus anyway. So what we're going to do is pull in. It's a slow movement from dark up to our mids, and it's going to invite, with using these beautiful vibrant colors, we're going to invite our viewer straight into here. There we go. And our strokes are a lot more direct, where we're really putting in, they're saturated is probably the best word. I like to go nice and dark in the beginning, because what I'm going to do is pull in the petals, and by pulling in those petals from the outside in, that helps do the gradation of color. Now I picked up the wrong one. There we go. We're going to pull these in, creating that almost that vivid pink. It's so beautiful, isn't it? But it allows me also to overlap a little bit and create the chaos of them all kissing in together. They're all cuddling in together, sort of creating, going around to create these lovely vibrant strokes. And look at that. We're just slowly bringing that lighter value into our red, and glazing those colors together. There we go. Look at that. And we can bring that in, and you can go back in. This is the beauty of the, this is really the beauty of pastel, and pastel matte in particular. You can layer and layer and layer, and just keep pushing, pushing the boundaries and getting that vibrancy. I'm just going to put some more direct strokes in here to draw your eye in with a little bit of detail. I don't do a lot of detail, but I like a little bit of detail on my focal flower. So, I want you to be drawn deep inside what's going on. Out here, I've just suggested that something's in the background there. But in this one, I'm just going to put a little bit more light. So I'm going to bring in just a kiss more light on that edge there, because I want to do it on this one. So I have to make sure there's a harmony in the painting and this is the way we do it. Alrighty, so my lovely edges, we're going to that much lighter pink and we're just pulling in those gorgeous strokes to create the petals. And we've got something that has depth because we've created that background. We've put that stem in the background. Before, you know, this doesn't probably come down far enough. So I will just, so that this is this is the importance of painting from the back to the front, is I need to get this in a little bit more so that that reads properly. And then with my lighter value, I can come over and really look at where the light is hitting, where I want those vibrant pinks to go. So pulling this in, there we go, look at that. And we're just gently creating where the light is sitting. I really love this. So I'm going to pop a little bit more over that color. I just love that color. The reason that I've gone from, you know, and I've kind of pulled in a little bit more of this one, because the change in value from white to there was too great. For me, it needed to be just that little bit more gentle. So bringing that in, and then I can pretty much just show the viewer where that light is coming. And something I love to do is, as I go along and I'm reading how this is working, I might just put a dash of pink coming out of one of these just to make it look like there's a little pink flower starting to open there. You know, just kind of brings it forward, doesn't it? So again, now I can say, okay, well, they're all sort of smushing together. Let's go in the middle, but still we're going to use our darker values. So our 3 values of yellow. And I'm going to draw this in because this is where I want you to look. So dark under here. If you really observe this flower here, it's dark underneath. So the light is still on the top. It's very suggested. So we're going to go up to our mid-tone and have that a little bit lighter. And then when we come to put the middle of the flower in, or the middle of the stamen in, I can just show that the light is sort of coming in here and drawing my viewer straight in here with a lovely detail. Let's just grab the correct one and almost suggest. I like a bit of suggestion. I'm big on suggestion. So not too much detail, just sort of, there we go, blending that out so that you are drawn into the middle of my flower. And I think maybe just a little bit of light here to bring you inside, right deep inside. But what that's showing me now is that my yellows need to be just some lovely lights to enjoy the yellow inside. Alrighty. Then remember, this was our dark side. I've lost a bit of that dark. So again, the beauty of pastel is we can go back in and we can pop that dark in and create the value change. And look at that. That is just, there's so much depth going on in there. Now I need to again address the light that we see on the edge, where that light is, where the sun, is kissing that. So let's see if we need to go, I think we need to go up a value, a little bit of, oh wow, look at this. Okay, so we're going to come in there a little bit just to show where that light is. And this is where we change our stroke. And we can leave some hard lines, we can leave some softer lines, but we're creating depth in our art. And this is just, for me, this is just perfection, because then I can really, just these spots of light, I can come in and go, wow, there's light there. Let's kiss that with a little bit of light there. And you can see that's a value change from there to there. Still not white, but a value change. And you can see how by layering just very gently, we can create, I think, what do you guys think? A little bit of a light up in there as well. And then I think we're not far off being done. So my last little edges here would be to show the light here and maybe just a little hard line just to draw your eye. What do you reckon? I think we need a little bit more yellow just on that side there. Just a little bit, just to really grab the depth of that hollyhock. Alrighty. So that to me is a nice little hollyhock with using the process, the Stephie Clark process of the background, the midground, and the foreground. Our out of focus, our soft out of focus background, and then our midground where there's lost and found edges, and then our in focus really highlighted hard edges, and we see the detail, I guess. Yeah, maybe just one of them there. What do you think? I reckon that looks pretty good.
I might zoom in.
Yeah, so come forward. Yeah, Gavin's just going to bring us forward. And you can see the detail. You can really see how all these values work together to create the beauty that we see in front of us. And I mean, we've got we can talk about our complementaries as well. We've got our, what makes this look so lovely too is our greens and our pinks. So red and green being opposites on our color charts. And, there's lots and lots of, areas as to why things work the way they were, why things in art happen. And these are all things that I cover throughout this course. And it's an interactive and it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to paint along and learn how to create learn how to create a flower, which is great. Now I'm just waiting for instruction on what's happened to Philippa. So I really hope you guys, I hope you end up joining me and painting along. I'd love to see, especially on social media, on our Instagram. So if you tag Artefacto and show us what you created as we went along. I hope I didn't paint too fast. That's the only thing. But you will get the recording and you can do that again. Okay. So that's our flower. I think what we could probably talk about is composition and how we look at something like this. And it's a very, when you look at something like this particular flower, which I might just say was taken in Paris on my daily walk to the Luxembourg Gardens to paint. It can be a little bit overwhelming. So one of the things that we need to learn to do is to simplify our compositions and not be overwhelmed with, oh my goodness, there's so many different ways of looking at things, but just to simplify choose a composition. I have a little range of compositions that I use. but looking at where the story of the light goes. So you can change a flower from here to there. Just remember that all the way through, we are telling a story. We're telling the story of where the light sits, what the joy is sitting in the background in here. And yeah, just sort of coming along and creating a piece of art with interest. We want to have a story. Each one of my paintings has a story. And sometimes that story will change as I come along, as I go, because I will get a beautiful stroke from one of the pastels and, the light looks really great that way. And I think, oh my goodness, I really need to change my composition. And sometimes I think, I really need to send my flower looking that way rather than, if this one's going this way. You can always change it around. But if you've got your story of where that light has to go, then you have everything you need. If you look at your composition, your story of light, and always maintain your values. That is one of the most important things, is creating those values. So yes, we don't need all the colors, but you do need a minimum of a dark, a mid, and a light of all the colors that that you're looking to create. So yeah, I wish I could ask you questions. I wish I had I wish you guys could ask me questions. So yeah, Gavin's just going to zoom in on here so that you can get a really good look. And I'm going to see if I can get into the chat and see whether you guys have asked questions that I can answer. It doesn't look like I can get into the chat, but that's okay, because one thing just by stepping back, one thing I should have mentioned to you is something that I do regularly, and that is step back from your work to make sure that you have captured that light. I can see as soon as I step back, I could see that I need a lot more light up in here to show exactly what's happening. I can also see that I've missed a couple of the lights just on this side here. So it's always a good idea just to step back and reassess whether things need more light or whether they need more angle, or whether just to see how your whole composition is shaping up. That's super important to make sure that you've got all the nice values that you're after, really, to tell your story. I reckon I could even just glaze over this one here with a little bit of white to heighten that light. So I'm just going to gently pop in a little bit of light there just to see whether that adds or subtracts. And this is one thing with pastel, we can easy, if you don't like it, you can come back in and you can go over it. Even with my dark, if I think, I dragged that light down too far, no problem. This is how forgiving pastels are. You can just gently layer and layer and layer. Yeah, it is just one of the most forgiving mediums. In fact, I would beg to differ, it's the best. But I'm a little biased as well. I do love my pastels. So you can easily just pop in a little bit of that light, just using some of these strokes, and you will see that I haven't put my finger in that at all. That is super, super important. One thing I would always do, and I'm not sure how much further I should go, I'm just waiting to hear how much further I should go. But one thing I would love to show you guys, which is a really great tool, is get your phone, your camera, whatever, and I can already see it here. Have a look at it, take a photo, and then turn your photo Let's go back over here. Turn your photo to black and white. This is a nice little self-check. You can turn your photo to black and white and check your values. So I can see there's not quite enough value change just in here to show where the light is sitting. So that then tells me that I need to come in with a little bit lighter pink to adjust that. So what I'm going to do is just ever so gently put a couple of little value changes in there, and you can see how it looks quite flat there. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to repeat the process, and you can already see there's a lot more volume there. So this is what I'm talking about. There's lots of little tips like this, little hacks that I share all through my course with Artefacto. So I will then come in and show you this one, and we'll edit that again to black and white. So every phone has this, and you can see, look how much more turn of that petal we have created. So I'm really happy with that. Shouldn't have touched that with my finger. So there we go, just a kiss of light on that little bit there. And you can adjust your values just ever so gently, and it just gently touching the paper. There we go. I'm just going to do a little check. So I'll get Gavin to go right in close there, and really he's just going to walk in and show you the directness of the strokes. You can see that some of the strokes are just glazed.
I hope this video was helpful to you. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we assist all individuals in mastering the skills of drawing and immersing themselves into the wonderful world of art. Don't forget to follow the link in the video description and register for my course. See you soon.